Golden State Valkyries didn't just beat the Las Vegas Aces, they kicked their whole ass. 68-95. The Las Vegas Aces can only score 68 points with the squad that they have. What is going on in Las Vegas?
The Las Vegas Aces, once favored to repeat as champions, just got steamrolled by 27 points at the hands of the Golden State Valkyries. Meanwhile, their former star Kelsey Plum is thriving with the Los Angeles Sparks, averaging 25.2 points per game and probably grinning all the way to the bank.
I got to give a shout out to Golden State Valkyries because boy, did they put an ass whooping on Vegas. Boy. And I'm not talking about some 15-point win. No, this is a 4-quarter, 27-point spanking in front of a sold-out crowd in Golden State. Vibes was immaculate. Love to see.
But here's the kicker. While the world continues to crown AJA Wilson as the undisputed queen of basketball, the Aces are crumbling like a house of cards. And suddenly, it's starting to look like Kelsey Plum might have been the secret glue holding this so-called dynasty together all along.
On paper, they should be kicking everybody's ass. Literally everybody. Like, A'ja Wilson put the entire Aces on her back and is doing everything she can to help her team, and it's just not going anywhere.
The numbers don't lie, even when the narrative tries to bury them. The Aces just suffered their worst loss since 2023, getting flat-out embarrassed, 95-68, by an expansion team that's supposed to be learning how to walk, not running title contenders out of the gym. But this isn't just a bad night. This is a full-blown system failure, one that traces all the way back to the moment Kelsey Plum walked out that door.
Lost a lot. Okay? And so I was like, yeah, we gotta wait. Give them time. But we didn't set uphill and lost by damn near 30 to an expansion team. Come on now. Come on.
Remember when the Aces shipped Kelsey Plum to the Sparks in that blockbuster 3-team deal? Everyone treated it like business as usual, like they were moving a role player, not a 3-time All-Star who was instrumental in back-to-back championships. AJA Wilson even had the audacity to shrug it off with an "it is what it is," chalking it up to the business side of the game. But here's the reality. Business is about winning. And right now, the Aces are failing miserably where it matters most, at their core.
Our interest in the Valkyries, whatever you want to say, like, if anything, even if it's just a passing interest, there are people that are interested in the Valkyries. And they destroyed the Aces. I mean this when I say this. The Aces, I've never seen the Aces look this bad before. And the Valkyries are for real. They're 3-5 on the season, but they play so hard. And I don't mean they're for real in the fact like they can compete, because they can't compete.
If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe, because here's what really went down. The Aces got complacent. They thought they could slide Jewel Lloyd into the mix and not miss a beat. They believed AJA Wilson's individual brilliance would be enough to carry them through. But they were wrong. Dead wrong. Kelsey Plum wasn't just putting up numbers. She was the heartbeat of that team. Even Wilson herself admitted it. Plum was the gritty, all-in player who did whatever the moment demanded. In the locker room, she spoke up when it counted. She was the emotional engine, the voice, the fire. That's not the kind of player you replace. That's the kind you build around. That's a cornerstone.
Led the team with 28 points, 6 3-pointers, and 8 assists. She has been on a tear to start the season. I'm low-key surprised she has been mentioned in MVP talks. Granted, Nafisa Collier is my pick to win MVP, but I definitely think Kelsey Plum should get some love in that.
Let's break down the latest disaster against the Valkyries. AJA Wilson, the so-called superstar, put up just 17 points on 5 of 13 shooting. Jackie Young, 8 points on a miserable 1 for 6 from the field. And Jewel Lloyd, the player they brought in to replace Kelsey Plum, finished with a brutal 6 points on 1 of 8 shooting. This is what championship DNA looks like. This is what a dynasty produces. Coach Becky Hammon was so fed up she called her team out publicly. I'm not going to coach effort. It's the one thing I can't deal with. You're in charge of your effort. When your coach has to question your team's heart, that's not a talent issue. That's a culture crisis. And guess who was a cornerstone of that winning culture? The very player they let walk, Kelsey Plum.
I think that's the first time in your tenure in Las Vegas. Has there been a common denominator, a similarity between those games? The one was in Seattle, I believe.
Yeah. Following people around defensively, being really soft mentally, just letting people come out and punk us, hit us, grab us, and us whining instead of buckling down and saying like, okay, that's what's going to be. Then let's go. And I told them in there, I said, we have effort has to come from your heart. The schemes, the discipline, the habits, that's your head. And right now, we not only have a heart issue, but it's letting us affect our head issue. But I'm not going to coach effort. It's just one thing I can't deal with. You're in charge of your effort. I guess I'm in charge of your playing time. So that's the one way I can affect it. But, I've never been a coach to pull for mistakes. But I will pull for effort.
Becky, I'm Morris Phillips, Sports Radio Service. You talked about missed shots offensively. They packed the paint. You didn't make them pay by...
The Aces trailed by 21 at halftime and never got back up. They surrendered 95 points to an expansion team still figuring out how to function like a professional franchise. The 27-point blowout marked their worst defeat since a 38-point drubbing by the Liberty in August 2023. But here's what makes it even more embarrassing. That 2023 collapse came with AJA Wilson held to just 9 points. At least then, there was an excuse. This time, Wilson dropped 17, and they still got run out of the gym. Meanwhile, while the Aces are battling heart issues and getting steamrolled by newcomers, Kelsey Plum is thriving in LA. In her Sparks debut, she torched the court for 37 points, the most ever scored in a WNBA season opener. She shot 11 of 19 from the field, didn't miss a single free throw, and made one thing clear. She didn't leave the dynasty left her.
Kelsey Plum won't never come out loud and sit here and say she happy to be the #1 dog, not able to drive her own car at her own speed. But you could tell in her body language that she was absolutely happy to be able to do what she want out on the floor and just really get to her spots, really run her team the way she want to. And she showed you she can be a lead dog. 37 points for your first debut as a LA Spark, man. Hats off to Kelsey Plum.
But it wasn't just the scoring. Kelsey Plum became the first player in WNBA history to post at least 35 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals in a single game. That's not just a great performance. That's history in motion, while her former team is busy spinning excuses. And the best part? She did it against the Valkyries, the very same squad that just humiliated the Aces and left Becky Hammon questioning her team's heart. Plum didn't just show up, she showed out. She proved that sometimes, a change of scenery doesn't just free a player, it unleashes them. The Sparks hoped Plum would breathe life into their stagnant offense. What they got was a full-blown resurrection. She's averaging 25.2 points and 5.5 assists per game, while shooting a deadly 43.4% from 3. Those aren't just solid stats. Those are MVP-level numbers from a player Vegas once treated like a complimentary piece. Turns out, Plum wasn't just part of the system. She was the system.
Kelsey's success hasn't yet translated into overall success for the LA Sparks. Not seeing as many wins as we'd assume with the amount of stats that she's putting up. I mean, she is exactly what the Sparks needed. She's able to read the floor, make plays, also being a very consistent offensive force, and she's Kelsey Plum. And so after ESPN's article came out, the conversation around MVP and Kelsey Plum have been sort of happening at the same time. With a lot of people saying that while it may be way too early, Kelsey Plum is currently leading that.
Here's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to say out loud. AJA Wilson has been exposed. For years, she's basked in the spotlight and collected the accolades. But Kelsey Plum was just as responsible for those championships. Now, with the spotlight squarely on Wilson as the unquestioned #1 option, the cracks are impossible to ignore. Wilson has been held under 20 points in 4 of the Aces' last 5 games. Already more than the entire 2024 regular season, when it only happened 3 times. And when you're billed as the best player in the league, you don't get to vanish when your team needs you most. But forget the box score, the eye test tells the real story. Wilson looks like a player pressing, forcing the issue, trying to do too much because deep down, she knows the truth. This supporting cast isn't championship caliber anymore. She's putting up decent individual numbers, sure, but the Aces are 4-3 and coming off back-to-back humiliations. That's not leadership. That's stat padding on a sinking ship. And let's not forget what Wilson herself said about the team. It wasn't a championship locker room. Out the gate, going into training camp, I was like, we ain't got it. Well, who creates that championship locker room? If you're the face of the franchise, the 3-time MVP, the so-called leader, then the buck stops with you.
Had, our rookie from last year, okay, Kate Martin, the Iowa girl, you know what I'm talking about, who rolled in this thing with Caitlin, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, when she was coming on our bench last year, she was a Valkyrie, okay? And she had more boards with 7 than the best player in the world had with 6, okay? Also, Kate Martin, to make it even worse, had more points by her damn self than Jackie Young and Jewel Lloyd put together. Kate had 12. Them girls together had 9. The hell is going on?